Welcome back. Now, in the perennial pursuit for higher remuneration, MPs have now made their boldest move yet, adding to the already controversial 250,000 shilling housing allowance. They want more allowances that could push their monthly earnings to about 2 million shillings. As taxpayers express outrage and seek solutions, one man's mission to change the constitution and tame such is gaining momentum. Third Way Alliance's Dr. Ekuru Aukot has managed to get 1 million signatures, actually 1.4 million signatures now, being verified by IEBC as he embarks on the Punguza Mzigo initiative. Let's take a look at some of the few highlights of the Punguza Mzigo initiative. One, they want to reduce, the proposals to reduce MPs from 416 to 147. They're also proposing to cap salaries, 500,000 shillings for the president and 300,000 shillings for MPs, with no allowances, by the way, because that's where the trick is. They are also proposing to abolish deputy governors' positions, abolish nominations, that is to the National Assembly, restructure independent commissions. They are also proposing a 1-year, 7-term presidency. Of course, they're also proposing to prosecute corruption cases in 30 days, to strengthen the Senate and actually give them veto powers, increase county revenue share to 35%, to at least 35%. All in all, and we'll look at this later, they want to save 3.78 trillion shillings in 5 years. And they have actually costed it. Dr. Ekuru Aukot is our guest, and thank you so much for making time for us.
Thanks, Hussein, and thanks for welcoming us after such a long time.
I know you've had issues with us, but that's fine. No. The media generally.
We are here.
Of course, with the outrage against MPs, I bet your initiative will become even more popular right now.
It is very popular, Hussein, and surprisingly, even today, following that article by Jerry Rawlings of Standard, people are actually asking, please bring us the form we signed. They don't even know
what exactly.
1.4 million signatures have already been submitted, and IBC is just now waiting to make the announcement. And
you're waiting for that on the 19th of
Yes, this
July.
is according to the letter by Chairman Chebukati.
Right. So you're proposing, for example, let's take a look at these issues about MPs, for example.
Right.
What you're proposing that MPs' numbers be reduced. We've seen from, and you're saying their salaries be capped at 300,000 shillings. And then you go on to say, and I quote what is in the bill, that stopping wastage of public funds and capping salaries of elected leaders to a maximum and consolidated pay of 500,000 for the president, 300,000 per MP per month. All elected leaders will not be paid any other allowances, including sitting allowance, car grant, mortgage allowance, SRC to determine salaries of other elected leaders. Good initiatives, people would say, but is this possible? Has SRC been successful thus far, including now, in determining MP salaries? Nothing has changed really, especially in allowances.
The reason that has not changed is because of the culture of bad politics that we have, because of the culture of lack of integrity, which of course, our Punguza Mzigo bill is addressing all those issues. I think what has happened is that we have not followed this constitution to the letter and even to its spirit. For example, you know, Hussein, we are the only country in the world that has dedicated a whole chapter called leadership and integrity. In other words, we want a certain type and character of leader. Not leaders who will go into public spaces to be able to enrich themselves at the expense of the people. For example, when members of parliament are actually asking now for night allowances, in fact, one wonders, I mean, what have they become? Have they become, you know, watchmen? Have they become, you know, night runners or whatever the case may be? They're asking for mortgage allowance, which they are given. Then at the same time, they're asking for rent allowance of 250. They're asking for car allowance, then they're asking for mileage, and now they're asking for night allowance. So it's very ridiculous. It tells the story of how this country is lacking in leadership. And that's one of the reasons why we are saying we need to address how we can strengthen parliament today, so that we can end up with people with integrity who will not see public spaces, public organs as avenues for enriching themselves. We are saying this in the Punguza Mzigo. If you want to enrich yourself, then public space is not the place to go. Go to the corporate world or start a business of your own, and you can become rich and even pay yourself. Okay. Let me give you an example, another example which is very topical today, which has angered many Kenyans. And I'll compare it. The state of California, whose economy is bigger than all of Africa except South Africa and Nigeria. The governor of California only takes home about 1.6 million. That's $16,000 US. So you can imagine a governor like that who has placed the state of California, just one of the states in the United States of America, to such a high level in terms of economy, is taking home 1.6 million. Then you have got some lackluster fellows here who cannot even prove what they have done in terms of legislation, in terms of representation. Now saying they want to increase their salary to 2.1 million. I mean, what kind of leadership is that?
Okay.
This is not the kind of leadership we're saying. That's why Punguza Mzigo is so popular with Kenyans when they say, let's now reduce parliamentarians from a maximum of 416 to 147 maximum so that we can identify serious men and women who can actually serve the people of Kenya.
Okay, you're talking about one very important thing. First, you've talked about leadership, and you've also talked about not really implementing the spirit and letter
of the Constitution.
But you want to change it. So is the problem the laws, or is it the implementation and leadership? Is it about political will, which you've actually alluded to as well?
So I'll give you two responses. If I was writing Kenya's constitution today, because I was in the team that wrote this constitution in 2010, and the constitution making process is about negotiation. If I was writing Kenya's constitution today, because I know there is no good political will, right from the very top, I will not leave anything to chance. I'll probably be very prescriptive, okay? The second thing that we are doing actually, we are strengthening the chapter on integrity. If you look at our proposal now to address theft of public money, corruption cases, and we'll come to that. We are actually proposing how to strengthen it so that, for example, if Kenyans adopted this Punguza Mzigo, you know, just by amending Article 79 of our Kenya Constitution, Article 127 and 229, we will completely clean Kenya of all bad leaders. 2022 will see a totally new face of Kenyans.
Okay.
You know, so that people with questionable character and integrity will not even be cleared by IEBC to run for public office.
Okay, but here you are. I mean, I'm asking. For example, Parliament now, they're coming up with the Parliamentary Service Bill. They're amending the laws and giving powers to Parliamentary Service Commission to actually oversee the issue of allowances. For them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Overlooking what SRC is supposed to do. Back to my question. So you reduce the number of MPs.
Yes.
For example, that happens according to what you're proposing. What changes? If there's no political will, how does changing the constitution and getting fewer MPs change the situation?
Listen,
they can still change laws. They can still go ahead and I mean, if there's no political will, they can still get this salary.
Let's talk to the constitutionality of whether parliamentarians can decide on their own emoluments, salaries, and allowances. It is, in the first place, against the Constitution, because you cannot pass any law or policy where you have got a pecuniary interest. Now, what are we talking about? We are saying, here we are dealing with a bunch of people who do not even understand the Constitution. And my hope is this, that with strengthened commission, with strengthened constitution, where now it's almost autopilot, then you will end up with men, women and men of integrity. And I think the question is this, Hussein. It is up to us now, electorate. Who is it that we are actually electing? In fact, I was even going to propose we abolish Parliamentary Service Commission, because SRC is sufficient enough to be able to provide guidance on matters, salaries, and allowances. And the reason that is the problem today is because these parliamentarians have remained rogue. Impunity in this country is now the norm. In fact, we are no longer saying that we are not thieves. Actually, we accept now we are thieves in this country. The only question is, how much have I stolen?
Good.
If you remember the Kimwarera and the Aror dams, the question was, is it 12 billion? And then the deputy president, the senior most powerful person in this country, came and said, no, it's only 7 billion. As if that's some small change.
That is being questioned.
It is being questioned, yes. But I'm saying that's the context within which today we have actually normalized theft of public money. And which is why if you look at Punguza Mzigo proposals, we're actually dealing with those particular issues. Okay,
but still, I mean, let's move on. First, do you have the requisite support? And you've seen people on Twitter, I mean, the tweets I just read, when they're talking about I mean, you have not really involved all stakeholders, especially politicians. For example, which people in which constituency would want their constituency abolished so that you have fewer MPs?
Okay, so let's demystify
You'll face
that.
resistance.
Let's demystify that. First of all, there are some people who have been talking about referendum call in funerals, in burials, in weddings, and in churches, without necessarily proposing a concrete thing like this bill. Now, first of all, this bill, Ekuru Aukot was only one signature. Okango was only one signature. Miruru Waweru, Njoroge, and I just can mention members of my political party. But 1.4 million Kenyans actually signed to this bill. And this is what IEBC verified through the manual verification exercise. Now they are doing the physical. You will be surprised, Hussein, if I told you that there are members of parliament who support this bill, except that they are not coming out in the open. And I asked them, some of them, why? They said, listen, this parliament has become a marketplace. We can't even contribute to bills. It's so difficult for you to be seen. The Speaker of the National Assembly, when, for example, they're discussing something that is as it tends to us legal, you will see the culture is to pick the lawyers, the Otiende Amolos, the Pondo Kalumas, the Mutula Kilonzos in the Senate, Watangula, Orengo, and the rest. But we want to see every member of parliament participating, contributing to a bill based on what their people want him to do. Okay. So the question really is, the bill has a lot of support. Look at social media. Just look at social media today. Look at the fact that people are even now asking, please bring this. On my way here.
Okay. That is why these are proposals. We'll see. We'll see what support it will get.
Let me just give you a fact. Yeah. On my way here, I spoke to 3 sitting members of the county assembly from Meru, who actually told me, Ekuru, when are you coming to Meru? So there is support. For
One of the reasons, of course, could be because you're proposing primary source of development.
Using the word as a primary unit of accelerated development.
But we'll come to that. All these things you're saying, fine, they can happen. I've asked you, I mean, which constituency, which people will accept their constituency to be abolished? But you're saying you have support. We'll see.
Can I explain to you? Hussein, it's very important to explain that. The reason we are saying let's abolish all the 290 constituencies, all the nomination, and use the ward as the primary unit of accelerated development is simple. Where are the people of Kenya? Where do people need services the most? We want people to be able to use the ward to begin to measure development in terms of clean water, electricity, security, lighting, hospitals, schools for their children, even jobs. Nobody is quarreling with that. And the question we asked in this Punguza Mizigo is this: between more representatives being sent to the national parliament and Maendeleo at your very doorsteps, which one will you rather choose? People say, we want Maendeleo because we want to see our lives improve. If today, Hussein, let me give you a simple example. There are many Kenyans who are dying of cancer because they have not been tested, because they cannot even access facilities in the world. We want to take that service to the people. Okay. Now, many members of parliament is of no value to account because already we are overrepresented, Hussein. And if you allow me, please, because this is very important, we've done a study on this bill. Counties as they are representative enough of the people of Kenya. There is no time, Hussein, you will go to Kiambu here and seek to be elected a governor while the majority are Kikuyu. Or a Luo going to Turkana to be elected a governor while the majority are Turkana. That's representation. The wards as they are representation enough, which is why we are not touching them, because we want this word to be used as the units of development. Okay. So the question really is, do we need to send more representatives from the county to the National Assembly, or do we want to bring services closer to the people?
Constitutionally, their roles are distinct, isn't it?
Yes.
They're not the same. Be that as it may.
They are representative. All of them are representative.
Fine. Be that as it may.
At the national level and at the county assembly level.
That's okay. Yeah. One of the reasons, I mean, I would ask you this point blank.
Yes.
Of course, you want to go through the county assembly's way, okay?
Because that's what the popular initiative is all about. Exactly. You can't avoid county assemblies.
And of course, the argument could be you're trying to entice.
No.
So that you get their support when you're giving them all this.
Hussein, please read the Constitution. It is the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya that says when you sponsor an amendment to the Constitution through the popular initiative, first you go to the people. You get a requisite 1 million.
There's no doubt about that.
Secondly, it must be verified by ABC. Thirdly, it must go to the county assembly.
No problem. I'm not doubting.
Fourthly, it must come to the National Assembly.
That is fine.
So it's not about enticing anybody.
You didn't let me ask my question. Okay? That is in the Constitution. We all know.
Right.
You've chose to go through this route, isn't it?
Yes.
You could have gone through Parliament as well. You didn't. Today you're saying parliamentarians, the number should be reduced.
Yes.
Today you're saying it's been lackluster.
Yeah.
With all the problems we've been seeing in county assemblies, you're not saying anything against them.
Okay.
And yours is going through a popular initiative, county assemblies, and again, this is what you propose for county assemblies, that each of the 1,450 wards of Kenya is the primary unit of accelerated development, replacing CDF, hence taking development to the people's doorsteps.
Yes.
Meaning you want them to even give given funds.
We want development money to be
So what makes them better than MPs
assemblies?
with all the problems we've been seeing in county assemblies? What makes county assembly members better than MPs?
What makes our proposal better is this. Number one, first of all, we have put on the table real issues that affect Kenyans. Kenyans are saying we are tired with overrepresentation because it's costing us.
I'm asking what is more what is better with MCAs than members of parliament?
Because
you seem to favor them.
Because
you're
saying, let's start with Article 6 of the Kenya Constitution. Article 6 of the Kenya Constitution says you must devolve each and every service to every part of the republic of this country. Okay? Now, the primary unit upon which you can measure the devolution of that service, the smallest unit here is the ward, not the constituency, not even the county. It's actually the ward. So if I want to measure development where people can actually feel development, say clean water, hospitals, schools, the ward is the most successful unit you can use, not the constituency.
Okay.
Another example. Today, a fact, Hussein, a fact. Every MCA today will tell you, if they are not in good books with the governor or with the member of parliament, his ward will be denied development. His ward will be denied bursary. We are saying no. The taxpayers' money must benefit all Kenyans in equal measure, which is why for us, the ward is the best avenue to reach each and every Kenyan and make sure they are properly included in the development.
And today, Dr. Aukot, every governor will tell you, if you're not in good books with the MCAs, they will frustrate you. Do you agree with that? And we have seen that.
It is true, but that's why we are saying.
Taita Taveta is one of the examples.
But that's why we are saying. But that's why we are saying. Let's clarify now that issue in the highest law in the land, which everybody by this lifts and swears to protect.
My question was, I was only asking. You've gone through the popular initiative. You've gone through the county assemblies. You've vilified the parliament. And you have not said anything against MCAs and their performance, and you actually want them to be given more funds. And you're saying, okay, that is a coincidence? So what is that?
Hussein, the solution is also in the amendment of Article 79, where any person handling matters public money, if you cannot account properly, you'll be in trouble, whether you're MCA or MP. Secondly, we have said, let's now use the Auditor General reports. Why are we not using them? We have asked Nurdin Aji, well, not particularly him, but the office of the DPP, that when the Auditor General just submits his report, 5 days after that, you must begin either the prosecution and DCI must begin the investigation within 60 days. So really, we are trying to clean up ours. But you know, these are structures that we have, Hussein. We cannot run away from not using county assemblies or even, that's why this bill eventually, when it passes at the county assembly, because I believe it will pass, it will come to the members of parliament.
You have taken care of them. So maybe you already know it's going to pass. You've taken care of them. But anyway, I mean, this is according to the law. There's no doubt. I mean, you're following this route. That's okay. The law. But of course, you have no problem with MCAs, you have a problem with MCs. Be that as it may, in your proposals to fight graft, you say corruption and theft of public resources cases be tried within 30 days and all appeals be exhaustively concluded within 50 days.
Yes.
Of course, the quality of evidence is important.
Yes.
Is this possible, given the number of corruption cases, to actually do it within 30 days?
First of all, it is very possible. Let me tell you, if I have evidence...
You'll stretch the courts.
And I can tell you this from as experience as a lawyer. If I have researched my case properly, I have put together my evidence, presenting evidence of thieves of public money is easy. Like you're proposing, we are challenging, why are we not using Auditor General report, who spent 6 months investigating, literally begging you. You know, say, Governor Hussein, you said that you're going to build a road, you're going to drill boreholes, but where is it? Yeah? The Auditor General makes a finding, which is not defended. The culture we've had in this country is this, that members of parliament, I'm sorry to come back to them, and senators begin to raise what they are calling audit queries as if they are auditors, even though they don't have capacity to actually do that. So really, that's why we are saying now from the Auditor General, once he has made that finding, let's go to DPP. DPP, what are you using about this finding? DCI, what are you going to do about this finding? So, and there are many good things by the way in this bill that I wish we had time.
We will have time. I mean, we'll have time for this definitely moving forward. But of course, the Senate, it's within their role for oversight, and some of these things need clarifications by these governors. Be that as it may, Honourable Court, you say amend Chapter 6 of the Constitution to automatically adopt recommendations of public inquiry and audit reports and bar all adversely mentioned individuals from holding any public office.
Yes.
That sounds a bit vague. What do you mean? What do you mean by adversely mentioned? Okay,
so let me tell you, as a student of constitutional law, and also having had the advantage of studying constitution elsewhere in the world, in countries like, for example, the United Kingdom, there is what they call the constitutional principle of resignation. Once you are doubted in your holding of public office, that's the question of integrity. It's for you to say...
Once who doubts you?
The public, or a question is raised around you. For example, if I have been given a kit to develop, to do certain development in my county, and I'm not able to account. So what Punguza Mizigo Bill is saying, we must hold you responsible. We must hold you accountable. After all, we're saying, it is Article 10 of our Kenya Constitution.
That's fine. I'm just saying.
And once there is an investigation, and you are actually adversely mentioned, you know, and you cannot prove, then we are saying integrity must kick in.
Why must I?
No, it's not been there.
It's there. I mean, you're not being clear. You're saying adversely mentioned. What is adversely mentioned? There's malice. There's political malice. It's very simple. Is it when you're charged? Okay. Is it when you're convicted? Or is it just a mention by anybody
when
that you're
convicted,
corrupt?
That's not adverse mention. Eh?
So what do you mean?
Adverse mention could be that.
When does it occur? Yeah.
You see, the evidence could tilt towards you. And we are saying through an investigation, for example. Listen, I hope you are not living in Planet Mars. You live with us in Kenya, Hussein. There are people,
that's why I'm asking this
exactly.
question. Yeah.
There are people who have been or being investigated while in office. It has proved very difficult. And President Uhuru has demonstrated during his, I think, his first term, where he actually told people, you must leave to allow investigation. For me, that is the measure of integrity. If, for example, for example, the Auditor General has investigated for 6 months and has found County X. You have not accounted for money. All we are saying is this, for us to begin to clean the leadership question in this country, for us to begin to hold people accountable, let's not play around with. If we have given Edward Aukot the responsibility to investigate, expenditure or non-expenditure of money, then we must also take his reports very seriously. What
I'm asking you is, how clear are you? Are you going to say it, because you have not said it, and you're saying it now, but you have not said it here. You know, is it when you're big? My point is,
adverse mention, Hussein, presupposes there is an inquiry.
Presupposes is the word. It's very. What I'm saying is, why were you not clear that if you're being investigated, step aside? That's it. When you say adversely mentioned, it can mean anything, isn't it?
Yes.
It's up to interpretation.
But see, it's also, we are also saying it's a question of, that's why we have provided in the bill. Look, I hope you're not reading this bill selectively. We have also said, we have also said this. When the audit report is completed, 5 days after that, and we have given timelines, DPP, if you study it and you find that there is actually sufficient evidence, because DPP is a lawyer, charge somebody. DCI, you have a responsibility. Begin investigations. We have given both avenues. We have not just left it hanging like that. Finally,
there's a lot of issues. We'll talk, in future interviews, of course, now that you're waiting after the 19th to know your fate. But the thing is, you proposed a one-term 7-year presidency.
Yes.
You've talked about several reasons why that is important. First, you've talked about issues about history of violence. You talked about with 2 terms, focus has been on re-election rather than service delivery. 1-term presidency will be ending the theft of public money, economic meltdown, reducing the wage bill.
Yes.
You could be right. There's no doubt about that.
Could be right. We are right, because our political history, Hussein, confirms exactly. Let me give you an example. 1992, there was an incumbent seeking re-election. There was violence, economic problems. 1997, same thing. 2002, there was no incumbent seeking re-election. Kenyans almost celebrated, including the security forces. 2007, you know what happened? There was an incumbent, and that probably was the worst political cycle of our country. 2013, there was none. Even the losers actually went and had a cup of tea in State House, and we moved on as a country. 2017, you saw exactly what happened. 300 people were killed. So there is a pattern associated with actually an incumbent seeking re-election. And that's why, and we are also given more other reasons. President, can you imagine? I'm imagining today, if President Uhuru in his first term of 2013 actually adopted this approach, even if it's of just PR talk on corruption, I think we'll have arrested a lot of money by now. But he's busy pleasing people, because he doesn't want to break ranks with people, and then he begins the process of being re-elected, and then economic meltdown. All we are saying this, if in 2022, or when in 2022 I'll be your president, Hussein, I'll begin my work from day one, knowing very well that I'm not seeking re-election, and I'm going to do what I promised Kenyans to do. 7 years is such a long term to bring change in this country, even if it means actually laying down the framework for the next government to be able to pick up. Because the truth be told, I don't know what Jubilee has been doing for the last, 6 years, but I can tell you, I know some of the framework was actually laid by President Kibaki.
Okay. The contrary can also be argued here,
which is what?
Dr. Aukot. That one, There's always been a problem politically in as far as succession politics is concerned.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I
so
agree.
it's not necessarily about one-term presidency.
I totally agree, but the problem is this. It has always been a do or die. It's a matter of life and death. And that's because the culture of leadership in our country has been based on either tribal mobilization,
Again.
you know, popularity, resources, and all that kind of thing. It's not about service delivery to the people. Because if you concentrate on service delivery to the people, leaving your promises, election promises, then I don't even think your election could be a problem.
Some say, again, the contrary can be argued. I would argue, for example, to the contrary, that if you have one term, one fixed 7-year term, you know you're not facing re-election.
Yes.
You may just as well decide to relax and stay and do whatever you want, because you're not going to face the electorate anymore anyway.
You know, the beauty of having only one term, if you truly are a person who cares about yourself and cares about your country.
A person, you've come back to that.
Yes, exactly.
My question, and goes back to all these issues you've been raising, back to my question. Is it about an individual and the person and the will or political will, or is it about laws? What will this change?
You know, Hussein, it's everything. If I offer myself today as the leader, I want to lead Kenya, people must scrutinize who Ekuru Aukot is. So you are scrutinizing the person. What are his beliefs? What are his ideologies? Can he actually deliver what he says he will deliver? So it's important to scrutinize the person, and I think this is where Kenyans have been going wrong. Because we just say when we get to the ballot, tunaona mtu wetu. You know? You don't see what are the ideologies of this person. So it's important to scrutinize the person, because there is no country in the world, Hussein, that can prosper without stewardship, without a leadership that believes in where they want to take the people. And there are many examples we can give in the world. You know, the developed economies of this world, the former tiger economies of Singapore and the rest, who we are to par with. So let's not shy away from scrutinizing leaders. And of course, this can all cascade to governors, to MPs, to MCS.
Because you're one of the drafters of the Constitution.
That's very true.
And all this was okay. If what would have happened, if implementation was right, if leadership was right, would you have needed to change the Constitution today?
Oh yeah, there are some aspects. I mean, like I said,
after all these years, after being a drafter of the Constitution,
let me tell you, Constitution making.
Would you have wanted to change this Katiba, or is it about the leadership and failure to implement the Katiba? Which makes me wonder, even after a referendum, if there's leadership failure and failure to implement the Katiba, so what is the point?
You see, you're saying, in any constitution making anywhere in the world, and I've had the privilege of serving in a couple of countries. Constitution making is a negotiation. People bring their views to the table. And the constitution builder, a constitution maker, must make a balance. You cannot throw away other people's ideas. So sometimes it's a compromise of ideas. Say, okay, I can live with that. You know, but a clever constitutional builder must build into the constitutional text, the final text, mechanisms on how you can change or amend, which is why in our constitution, we are provided right from Article 255, 256, and 257. If we feel that there are certain aspects of our constitution that we need to review or to amend, then you can promote. Which is why now Third Way Alliance Kenya has actually analyzed the implementation of Kenya's constitution, and they have seen all the challenges that have been there. The fact that today we are not even living sometimes to the spirit of the constitution or the letter of the constitution. So we have decided, okay, let's look at the question of over-representation. Do we need so many members of parliament, or do we need resources to the county? Do we need even deputy governors? We've said we don't need them. Why is it that every year IEBC will be asking for billions to re-register Kenyans? We are saying once you are Kenyan, 18 years and above, you have an ID, you should be deemed automatically to be a registered voter. Commissions. Do we need so many commissions? I've been a chairman of a university council, Jomo Kenyatta, and also in University of Nairobi. We were working part-time to run those institutions.
Okay.
Why do we now need 9 commissioners full-time with security, with all that package? They can come in, part-time and just make policy decisions, so long as you've got a strong secretariat. The principle in Punguza Mizigo, the concept, is how do we reduce the cost of governance? Because we're saying the unfortunate thing about us Kenyans, not many people will take time to just read even a document like this.
Okay.
I'm chatting with people and they're telling me, can you send me a copy? It is online. Okay. If people just read even the Committee of Experts report, and we warned in that Committee of Experts, the final report, that whereas we are adapting this constitution, let's also be wary of the cost that comes with it.
Okay. I'll take us some look at some tweets and SMS as we wind up here. Gumba Kagumba on Twitter says, he claimed that is you to be the official opposition leader for the last general election. What has he done to keep the government in check? Of course, that's a question for you.
Yes.
Clinton, Bill Oriwa, our democratic system is not mature enough for Punguza Mizigo. It's a good idea on paper, though. If you can just respond to the one talking about
opposition.
Opposition, yeah. Very, very briefly.
First of all, Hussein, we are the only political party that has remained active in terms of engaging both the legislature, the executive, and you guys know this. You have it on record. We have questioned, for example, the Division of Revenue Bill number 7 of 2018. We have questioned the VAT Act of 2013, and our views are already even in Bunge. After all, we are the only political party, and I will say this loudly, that has said we want to amend the Constitution and presented a concrete, supported.
Yeah.
So, and opposition politics, by the way, and I want to ask him, to tell him, opposition politics is not necessarily about working with government or being in parliament. It's about having a contrary view either to a policy of government and suggesting an alternative to how we can best achieve better governance. We have suggested that. Okay. That for me is opposition politics, and some people have been swallowed into government while they are still claiming opposition. I don't think that's the way we want to go.
Danson Olen Kuruna says Mr. Aukot is the last man standing with the very purpose of changing this country through the rule of law. Okay. All right, another tweet here. We have Moses Adongo. The Punguza Mzigo initiative could fall in the assemblies which play the NASA Jubilee politics too bad.
Well, I think there is no NASA Jubilee now. There is a Jubilee A and Jubilee B.
And of course, Aukot has good things coming for MCAs. That's why I was asking if that is a coincidence. So it's 20 times. Of course, you are denying that. Samuel Miguel Jr., the only way we can Punguza Mizigo is electing right leadership that has the political will to detect, stop and fight graft. We can reduce the number of MP salaries, but the Mizigo still becomes more heavier due to graft. Let us not run away from the elephant in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
And finally, Collins Bore says, Aukot is leading a very objective course to help Kenyans. Unfortunately, the same Kenyans will not listen to him because they are brainwashed by their political gods. Tenda Wema Nenda Zako. Aukot wants you to give up that one. Yeah. And finally, an SMS here from Felix in Kisii. He is also doubted as having conspired with Jubilee for the repeat election to frustrate NASA. What happened to this running mate, for example?
Do you want me to respond to that?
Up, yeah.
Quickly, okay. First of all, I think I'm a person who believes and fears the rule of law. I supported the NASA petition before the Supreme Court. And we are the only political party, by the way, that actually submitted and filed an audit of irregularities and illegalities, which the Supreme Court actually adopted in nullifying the President Uhuru's win. But the same court also saying, directed us to go into a repeat election and follow the law strictly and the Constitution. Now, the people who successfully petitioned for the nullification of the election chickened out. I chose to say, no, we must follow the Constitution. I'm a lawyer and I believe in the rule of law. There is no, even if you have a political view, saying the political view, especially election management, must be within the legal framework of this country, the Constitution and the enabling law. So there is no way I could have refused to participate in the repeat election because that was the law of this country. And I don't know how that is a conspiracy because I was respecting an order of a very wise judge, Justice John Mativo, who actually analyzed all the issues around what a repeat election means, what Article 140 is about.
But you had also criticized the IEBC.
I did criticize the IEBC, but look at the crisis that will have unfolded into this country if we said we are not going into a repeat election. I mean, we could have ended up in a constitutional crisis. And remember, Justice Maraga even remember him promising and saying, if they don't follow the Constitution or the law, come back here and I will nullify. Now, it's only cowards who will run from a fight. I'm not a coward.
Okay, let's see where this goes, but we wish you the best of luck, Dr. Ekuru Aukot, and I'm sure we'll be hosting you in the coming months. But thank you so much.
Not in the coming months, in the coming days and weeks. And I think because we have not exhausted this subject, Hussein.
Not at all.
Yeah, not at all. Okay. We just scratched the surface.
But
I will also urge Kenyans to take time, look at the bill, read it, and familiarize yourself with it, and hopefully we can have a very good discussion going on in all the 47 county assemblies of this country. Okay, and we thank you so much for making time for us tonight. Keep texting us, 22422 is your SMS number. On Twitter, use the hashtag NEWSNIGHT.